Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is October 27th, 2017. Buy and hold, long-term thinking, 2020 halving. All right, first of all, thank you to the person who sent me Bitcoin recently. People have been sending me Bitcoin at all my addresses are below. Always check out the link section below. All four of our guests are linked to below so you can see what they're all about. Yes, this week we have four guests. Three of them are in Europe. One of them, Ansel, is back in the United States. So this is international type of stuff here, people. I wanted to open the show with a quote that I just got from the chat, actually. Someone in the live chat, because the live chat starts before the show. I can't check out the live chat much during the show, but before the show I can. The person said, it feels like the Bitcoin space is under a magnifying glass that moves linearly in a line with time. As we go along, the current events seemed like big deals, but looking back at them, they seem like non-events. And you know what? I am telling everyone is so worried about 2x and about crypto dividends and friendly forks and unfriendly forks. We're going to look back on this one day and just, I think, laugh. I'm not worried. All right, Giacomo is in Italy. This is his first appearance on the show. Giacomo Zucco, welcome to the show. What do you think about 2x? Are we going to look back at this one day and just laugh? And what do you think about all these hard forks?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me in the show. I'm very happy to be here. So I am a little bit worried for 2x, as many are. I don't buy very much the thing about free dividends, about free money, because that's as a fact, that's true that I get some money dumping my Bcash, and I will get some money dumping my B2X. So that's true. But economically speaking, we can imagine that when you have one cryptocurrency which splits, the total value of the price is not magically enhanced by the split itself. Otherwise, we just found the formula for the eternal richness for everybody. We fork every 2 days, and we are all super billionaires in Bitcoin. Actually, the thing is that when you have a split, actually you create two economies which are individually weaker than their sum is somehow weaker than the previous entire economy. Why we don't see that? Why we, after Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, we had a growth in the market cap? Well, because there is anyway some pressure of new demand that would have been there anyway. So the price of Bitcoin, original Bitcoin before Bitcoin Cash, would have been greater than the sum of Bitcoin plus Bitcoin Cash. Not just the sum, but even more, because economies have network effects. So in some sense, a fork do actually defraud you of some money, and the money that you get back dumping your fork coin, as everybody should do, is actually just a partial recovery of the value that you have lost. This could be false, especially if someone thinks that these two splits are serving different kinds of demand. Like, for example, Bitcoin itself could not get some kind of super big blocker in, because I mean, Mike Hearn was out, but now that we have big block on Bcash, Mike Hearn will buy again. So if you're assuming that the split is serving, like when you have a spin-off of a company and you're serving different markets, then you can imagine the splitting after in some circumstances can actually increase your total market cap. But I don't think that's a thing with 2x. I think that actually the main value proposition of Bitcoin is to be the digital gold, independent, impossible to modify, immutable, impossible to control. So the fact that you have 2x is not really increasing too much the value. Probably we will see an increase of the value because the fear of the fork itself, if and when nothing catastrophic will happen, we relieve some fear, and so we will have buy pressure. So in general, it will be better without forks. That said, especially contentious fork. That said, if you really have to have one fork, then it's better to have several, because if, it's like altcoins. If you have Bitcoin plus one Bitcoin clone, that's bad, because the Bitcoin clone can pretend to be Bitcoin, can steal your momentum, can actually defraud people with false market tickers, with false name, false logo, false marketing. While if you have Bitcoin and all the altcoins, I mean, okay, you have Ethereum that is trying very, very hard to try to be some kind of scam replica, but in general, altcoins are just another kind of different thing. And I think that if people start to forks every other day, you will have Bitcoin, the one and only, and the fork coins. So better to have 3-4 coins than once. But it was better not to have the first one in the first place. And it's crazy, because if you think about it, for a while, miners themselves were very scared about actually do our forking contentiously. They threatened it with Classic, with XT, with Unlimited, but they never did it because they didn't want to lose money. But then with Bcash, these developers, with these crazy guys just started, Jian Wu decided to troll mining on it. There was a difficult adjustment. And so the fear now has passed. And so I do think that even if 2x doesn't make any sense, technically it's just crazy. Politically, it was not crazy when it was intended as a successful takeover. But now that the successful takeover already failed, I mean, certainly and unequivocally failed, so there is not even a political point in creating their own loser altcoin. But they probably will go on anyway, because now if you have the code, some miner will try to play with it. The hard fork is particularly dangerous if it's explicitly a phishing attack. Like B2X is worse than Bcash, because Bcash had reply protection. They didn't try very hard to steal the ticker on the exchanges or to trick the SPV light wallets. B2X is actively trying to defraud the SPV wallet owners. So that will be, especially for them, something bad. But it will teach people to not trust SPV and to rely on trusted full nodes.
Wow, baby. You put it all out there, Giacomo. Thank you very much. Everyone, pound that like button if you like our latest and greatest and newest member of the panel, Giacomo. I try to bring the best people to this channel. And speaking of that, check out my Brian Kelly show from a couple days ago, people. It's linked below. Check out the archives. Ansel, Giacomo just said a lot. What do you have anything to say in reply to that? Do you have any? You obviously have feelings about 2x, and you probably have warnings about it. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a little less concerned than Giacomo. I have the utmost respect for his opinion, but I think 1 fork is bad, 10 forks is good, because you know, it builds immunity, it builds the community awareness. It also strikes at the heart of a lot of these empiricist debate points. So they'll argue, well, we need to experiment. We need to see if this is going to work. Okay, well, go experiment on Bcash or go experiment on the 2x chain. And also, I don't think that they take a lot of value away from Bitcoin. I think mainly they're taking value away from altcoins. And over the next couple of years, we're going to see, you know, the altcoin market as a whole, just all the value gets sucked out of that and go into forks. I think we're going to see, I don't know, in the tens of forks over the next 2 years of Bitcoin and maybe even Litecoin and some of the other bigger alts. But yeah, I think that this is kind of an evolution of Bitcoin in a way. And overall, I think it's going to be positive.
Yeah, I have to go with you on that. It's hurting the altcoins more than Bitcoin type of thing. I think we're creating a new tier of altcoins here that is surpassing the top tier of altcoins that already exist. So, I mean, coins like Dash could be hurt. People who used to hold Dash might now want to get into some of these Bcash or Bgold or whatever. Just my opinion. And Moneytrigz, what do you think about that? What do you think about all this that is just said? What are these forks hurting anyone? Are they hurting altcoins? Are they hurting Bitcoin? And are you concerned about 2x?
Well, I would say, you know, the first fork, Bcash, I saw it more as a option by the miners to keep a lot of their hardware that has like the ASIC boost exploit valid to mine a blockchain that's not SegWit. So, and I think the only thing that kind of hurts it is the branding. You know, you're gonna have a lot of new people a bit confused about the market, and then people trying to sell them the new, like, oh, this is the cheap Bitcoin, it's better to invest in this one, blah blah. So it brings a little confusion, but I'm not really concerned. We'll see what happens with 2x attack, what they're trying to do with the whole Coinbase. You can see the corruption that's kind of going on with the CEOs, with Sapo and Coinbase and all that going on, BitPay. So we're going to see what's going to happen. You'll get a good chance to get a discount if something crazy goes on. So keep the money ready to buy the dips.
Do you think 2x is going to survive as a coin? Do you think it'll be around in a year still?
You know, to be honest, I'm putting a 50-50 that they may cancel. The only reason they won't cancel is to save face, you know, because they've done it so many times. If you think about, you know, BU and all that kind of stuff, and it's been clear even with the Vinny leaked email that, you know, they publicly in their own group will say, like, listen, it's not even about, you know, getting 2 megabyte blocks, because SegWit right now is already 2 megabyte blocks. It's about removing the reference repo to BTC1. It's basically removing the whole core structure and what makes Bitcoin so powerful of a self-sustainable developing community, you know, back checking the best in the world. So that's really what's going on right now. And I don't know, I put it 50-50 that they're going to even try it, but when they do, I see it as a very low value coin if they do launch it. I'll put it at 5%.
Okay, all right. Levi, what do you think? Are you worried about 2x?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Do you think it's going to happen? Give us your, you just heard everybody, give your commentary, man. Take it away.
No, I don't. Yeah, I posted a video earlier this week about Bitcoin Gold, and the title is "Let's just move on with our lives." I mean, I think it's you know how I am about these kind of things. No, yeah, I think those folks are just stealing value of Bitcoin. But in the end, if you look at it just from an economical perspective, also, Bitcoin has the brand recognition, and the other things doesn't matter at all. Bitcoin Cash, of course, had some mining support, but what happens with SegWit 2x? Are the miners really going to allocate some hash power there? And if they are going to allocate hash power there, there is still no difficulty adjustment on SegWit 2x. And I think based on that, it will just die in the end, because who will back that up from a mining perspective? That's my opinion on it, Adam, and the rest has been said right here.
All right, so you're laid back about this whole thing.
Yeah.
You're moving on with your life. You realize that, you know, there's a December after November. There's going to be a future. The world is not going to end in November. So everyone remember that. Stay calm, everyone. Anyone?
Dude, before we forget, we should talk about that coin that Jay Garcic just...
Yes, bring it up. I was going to ask, does anyone else have anything to add?
And Giacomo should start with that one, because I want to hear him destroy that.
I really was just about saying that I was okay. I agree with many of the things you said after my first comment. So I agree that 1 fork is bad and 10 are good. I agree that this is long time anti-fragility. If it can happen, then sooner or later it has to happen in order to try. And I agree it's better to fight CEOs first than government later, assuming that CEOs are not explicitly driven by government right now. I also do agree that probably right now they are hurting casual trade. They are taking the money from casual altcoin traders and not from Bitcoin holders, at least in the long run. But I wanted to specify that yes, I do feel worried that Bitcoin is not as proven as a concept of resiliency as we like to think. I do like to keep this kind of mindset for my own, sanity. But I was really more worried before Jay Garcic publicly explained that that after months of pushing for a contentious hard fork, trying to control and change Bitcoin, he actually did launch a scam coin ICO based on Ethereum, which value proposition is getting away from fork drama on Bitcoin, which he himself is causing, and also having a coin that cannot be manipulated or controlled by anyone. So after this kind of I mean, this is too embarrassing even for the kind of reckless guys that are sustaining this kind of attack. I didn't see any attempt from anybody of the 2x pumpers to actually defend this level of craziness. What we should avoid is the renormalization of this point of the debate. I mean, we should really keep I mean, looking at the context here, we have the main and only developer of 2x actually as fork and creating, launching and selling on the market an Ethereum token based on the fact that Bitcoin has contentious hard forks. So it's something beyond any scam level that we have seen so far. It's something really. This is a new. This is a new day for Bitcoin. We reached the point that Craig Wright and OneCoin people and Vitalik Buterin together could not. So great stuff.
That was some great stuff straight out of Italy. That's where Giacomo is right now. You're in Milan, right? Is that where you are right now? Are you
yes, I am in Milan. Do you hear me?
Yes. We are gonna actually talk about where you are in a second. But Ansel is laughing his butt off. He's got something to say about all this too. This new level of well, you take it away.
Oh, Giacomo, I've enjoyed watching a lot of your presentations. You have one of the greatest sense of humors in the space. You just made it sound so damn silly. And that's exactly what it is. For people, any logical person, any rational person that's looking at this situation, there's no way that they can accept that. You know, as they can't follow that. They can't. I mean, miners that are still signaling for some reason at 80%. Nobody can really take this seriously. And that was when that happened. I had a podcast about that. When that happened, the metronome stuff. I mean, that sealed the deal 100% that this is not a threat at all. So that's it.
All right. Moneytrigz, you're the one who brought this this part of the subject matter up. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to see all this unfolding. It's, you know, to see good actors become very bad actors, or if you want to say like incentivized bias actors, you know, from seeing Vinny go from the good side to the dark side and now completely like over the top, and Jeff Garzik the same. You know, it's kind of like seeing politics and politicians like basically merge into the crypto community, because you can see like, oh, you know, before they get elected, like, yes, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll change, it's all positive, and then when they're in the position of power, they take that dirty check under the table and become, you know, the devil and will do all the bad stuff. And then, you know, it's just crazy to see what money and power does to people. It just changes them.
Well, it's very interesting you make a comparison to politicians. Generally, the general public forgives politicians and just forgets, and then they come back into society and they do it all over again. And Levi, do you think that some of these people who used to be considered good actors and now are considered bad actors, are they going to be forgiven? Are they going to be able to come back?
Yeah, you know, time will tell, but the damage has already been done. You know, it's easier to how you say it, keep a good impression than a bad impression. So I think those days are over for these guys.
I don't know. Okay, rest of the panel here. I feel that 80% of the people in our space just like they'd rather be just flipping coins. They don't care about the specifics. They got short memories. Are the people who are now considered bad actors, are they going to be able to come back? And first of all, some of the people that are considered bad actors, a lot of people don't consider them bad actors, like the guy behind Bcash, the guy I call King of the Trolls. There are people that still like him, that think he's Jesus still. What's everyone think about the cast of characters and politicians? Are they going to be forgiven? Is this going to be forgotten in a year? Giacomo? Giacomo? Let me see.
I can go first.
Okay, Ansel, you take it away.
Yeah, that was a good point about the 80% of the people in the space. They might not care; they're just day trading or whatever. But I think on the flip side of that, 80% of the coins are held by long-term holders. So they are very in tune to this, and you know they are the ones that are investing their time and energy into kind of countering a lot of this FUD and countering a lot of these bad actors. So and we're getting better and better at it. So I don't yeah, go on. I got more thoughts, but I'll let someone else talk.
Wait. You're holding back on something? Bring it out. Everyone supposed to hear what you have to say.
I can go first. Okay, so am I muted now?
You're good. I hear you.
Okay, so sorry, I had an alarm go off on my chart. Okay, so I think that these bad actors, they're going to kind of have a revolving door. So we saw Andreessen kind of get kicked out, Hearn get kicked out with XT. I think the next thing we'll see is them come back. I saw about a few months ago, they had some story about Hearn actually had some early emails, like even before Bitcoin Talk, with Satoshi. So they're kind of building his credibility back, I think, and they're going to bring him back for the next fork attempt. But we'll see cycles. You know, they'll be out and then back in 2 years' time, and we'll have to go through all this all over again.
All right. Giacomo will be back in a second. He's having some technical difficulties. Out in the chat, first of all, I want to tell everyone to pound that like button. Remember, subscribe to this channel. And if you did share the video, get more people over here now, man. Got a lot of live viewers. It's awesome. And please check out the notes section below. All these important links. You can get your Trezor there, et cetera, et cetera. Now, somebody in the super chat sent $5. And this is a question that a lot of people get asked this a lot. But hey, he sent $5. We're going to ask it. He said someone gave him he has a $100,000 loan someone sent him. Now, first of all, again, taking a loan is bad. Be careful. You never want to be in debt. But let's pretend it wasn't a loan. He has $100,000. He wants to know what you guys think he should invest that in what coins. I'm going to go first. Bitcoin. That's all. Okay. What do you think? What do you think, Moneytrigz?
Okay, so we're shilling coins now?
No, well, yeah. This is a quick little pit stop because the guy he donated to the show. So let's ask his question.
Yeah, he should have said 100K and also the timeline. But long term, I'll keep it on Bitcoin.
All right, yes. Levi, how about you?
Yeah, I would put most of the money also in Bitcoin, of course. But other than that, I would not name a specific coin. For the trolls, but I would no, but I would put them in some buckets, you know, privacy coins, for instance, but also how to say it, decentralized computing, and maybe also social network coins.
All right, Giacomo, are you back? Can you hear us?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Sorry for the 2x sabotage attempt, probably.
All right, this is a three-part question for you because you missed a couple things. Comment on if all these personalities that have gone bad on us, if they're going to get, if they're going to be forgiven. There's a guy in the audience who wants to know if he gave you $100,000, what coins you would invest in, and then finally talk about where you are, your office, and what you do there because people are curious.
Okay, so. First, I do share some of your concern about people having a short memory, like with politics. After all, this is actually politics. This attack is a political attack on Bitcoin, so it can happen. I think the Bitcoin core, not in a repository sense, but the Bitcoin kernel culture is very, very serious, very, very, I mean, very tough, very difficult to mess with. But what I'm concerned about is that there is some people that right now, for very, very noble humanitarian and intellectual reasons, they are pushing everybody to be nice and to actually do not be harsh on these attackers, to respect, to assume good faith. I do think that while personally, if I just met Roger Ver for a dinner, I can actually have no problem being nice. I think in collectively, the fact that we are not being nice with these people and we are not forgiving and not forgetting, just to quote some of the early Bitcoin adopters, anonymous folks, is actually part of the Bitcoin immunitary system itself. Bitcoin is not just code. Bitcoin is code and ASICs. Is code and ASICs and people. The fact that you cannot trust people individually doesn't mean that you don't have to trust at some degree some kind of culture, because Bitcoin can be politically and culturally hijacked. The game theory per se is maybe not enough to keep Bitcoin pure and working if there is not some kind of social norm that I think that we should partially or at some extent ostracize these people that are attacking Bitcoin. There's nothing wrong with that morally. That's actually part of the natural reaction of Bitcoin itself as a complex, partially human system. So second question, if I had some money, I will just buy Bitcoin. That doesn't mean that I don't think that we should differentiate the investment. It's wise to not put all the eggs in the same old story, but I don't think that altcoins so far are differentiation. I think that they are all sub-pair clones, and I think that if Bitcoin die, I think that Bitcoin will live because 100% of my career, my face, my dinner talks, and my money are on Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin does fail, I do not think that any of the existing altcoin can ever succeed after Bitcoin. Actually, Bitcoin had a very, very special birth. It was conceived without external attacker looking at it. It was too small to be frightening at the beginning, and now it's too big to be stopped. And that's something that you cannot easily reproduce with other experiments. And also there are the network effects that are not just money network effects or hash rate network effects. You also have the brain power network effect. The most brilliant people on the planet, if they can choose where to work when they have to work on an open source operating system, they will choose Linux if they don't have strong reasons not to. And they will choose Bitcoin if they have to work on some cryptocurrency. So I think that the gap, the intellectual and technical gap is overwhelming. So differentiate between cryptocurrency and other stuff, I think that's good. If I had a little bit more money, I would buy physical gold, probably ammunition, and maybe some real estate in foreign countries. Maybe I do keep some fiat for everyday transaction, but it's like less than 0.5%. I don't think that investing in fiat is a very good idea. I think it's a little bit reckless and risky and a little bit ideological to invest fiat nowadays. But I don't think that internally differentiation among cryptocurrency does make sense. In the future, if Bitcoin is digital gold, an economy is not just gold. An economy is gold, debt, credit, bonds, stocks, shares, royalties, voting rights. So an economy has complex representation of value. I do think that that someday, probably after the scam ICO collapse, we will see other forms of digital value, probably leveraging Bitcoin or technologies that somehow are seamlessly connected to Bitcoin, like sidechains or meta protocols or whatever. We will see other forms of digital property which makes sense. But I think that most of the cryptocurrencies right now, they are pretending to be digital. The computer gas or storage, proof of storage, but actually they all this kind of application can be replaced by an application that does distributed storage and is paid in Bitcoin, that does distributed computing better than Ethereum, and is paid in Bitcoin. So when you have digital gold, you don't really need, or there is not really space for other digital gold. So to make a long story short, I do not invest in altcoins ever. I never did. If I was a good trader, I would trade in altcoins, but that's different than investing. I would just pump and dump in the short term. So last question. I'm in Milan. Yeah.
Yeah, keep please.
Yeah, I'm in the office of BHB Network, or Blockchain Lab is the old name, but Blockchain Lab was a little bit a scammy name because it was there was blockchain there for marketing reasons. Now we dropped that. It was useful at the beginning to get some money, but now we can just drop this blockchain nonsense. And here's BHB, which is here's Mir, which is
Hi everyone.
Hello.
And hello, wait. Take out the headphones. Mir is here, and a few minutes ago you had like Riccardo Casata of Open Timestamps and Valerio Vaccaro, IoT expert, and a few other guys. Now it's a little bit desert. Usually we invite here experts from all around the world. We pay for travel, accommodation, expenses in order to help them working on the best open source project. So one time we have all the Lightning developers together and we push them, then Open Timestamps, then maybe trusted hardware elements. So we select some kind of topics and we gather smart people in order to cooperate on that, and some tourism, since we are still in Italy.
Wow,
And food.
that's a cool place you got there. You travel all around the world. How big is Bitcoin in Italy? What's the ecosystem like there in Italy? Is it compared to the rest of Europe and the rest of the world? What do you think?
So very interesting, because the Bitcoin ecosystem here started little but full of champions, full of excellence examples. For example, the oldest Bitcoin exchange, the Rock Trading, is very little, but is the oldest exchange alive. There were oldest exchange, but they are all dead. Is made by Italians. The most advanced Bitcoin wallet, green address wallet, the first HD, the first hardware compatible, the most advanced green address, born here in Milan. And we have like one city, Rovereto, which is a Bitcoin city, just like Arnhem, with the highest concentration of Bitcoin business in Europe. Also, we had the first association that we sent to the European Parliament. So a lot of good stuff, a lot of champions, but right now everybody's just going away because the ecosystem around doesn't allow you to grow. Italian as a political system is super socialist, innovation is impossible here. And so, for example, we have our foundation, BHB, is based in Switzerland for several reasons, not just taxes, but even bureaucracy and political assurances and various reasons. Now we keep the logistic place here in Italy, but I think that probably in less than 1 year, we will actually be in Italian Switzerland. So Italy started interesting. It could get soon desert from the point of view of the business ecosystem. While the user ecosystem, I mean, the worst is the political system, the best is for Bitcoin. So in a way, I think it will get better for mass adoption, corruption, tax evasion. It will be worse for business that will migrate somewhere else.
Well, thank you. I love to hear what's going on in other countries, and you summed it up real nice there for Italy. All right, Ansel, I didn't ask you the $100,000 question yet. I think I might know what your answer is, though. So take it away.
No, yeah, Bitcoin only, or maybe short altcoins. If there's a basket I could short right now, I might short altcoins. But yeah, I would like to follow on to some things that Giacomo said there with the ostracization, or however you say the word, of the people in the community. I think that is spot on, 100%. They'll attempt to rewrite history, and you know, we need to guard against all of that, and protect new money that's coming in from getting pulled off and wasted on these guys. Just, you know, the new money will come in, fill up the scammers' coffers, and then they can FUD the community once again. So we need to be on our guard for that stuff. Also, about the fair launch of Bitcoin. Yeah, I've said for a long time that post Bitcoin, it's probably impossible to have a fair launch, or at least as fair as Bitcoin. And for altcoins, that has been one of the biggest problems. I called it the bootstrapping problem in one of my blog posts. And to fix that problem, they had all these claims. Okay, so now we're gonna do smart contracts because that's gonna help get money in, and people will mine that. The claims built on itself. And now we're seeing the inevitable collapse. The next phase of that is going to be a fair launch that copies Bitcoin's launch, these forks. So I'll go back to that again. I think we're going to see more and more of these forks, because it goes back to that whole, how do you bootstrap an altcoin without making ridiculous claims? Well, you're just going to have to take Bitcoin's history and launch it that way. So I just wanted to expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, that is a good point, and why this is going to become a trend. It's a pure way to start. People are looking for that pure way of starting their, or quote unquote pure way of starting their own coin. Moneytrigz and well, first Moneytrigz, do you have anything? And Levi, do you have any additional questions? Because we've been leaving you out by accident there. I wanted to give you guys some time.
I would just like to comment with a flash about what Ansel said right now, because I think there is a little bit of misconception here. The desire to make money when you launch a coin, when you do something, is not bad in itself. The desire to monetize, to get rewarded for your work, is not a sin, is not a scam per se. The problem is that when your ambition is to create a full open infrastructure, then you have a serious bootstrap problem and a serious trust problem and coordination problem. So I will not, like, right now is like every time you try to make money, somehow everybody is like reacting instinctively, oh, that's a scam. That's not like that. You can make a lot of money, that's legit, just not if you want to launch a free, shared, open, standard infrastructure. In that case, I'm sorry, but you have to give up. You have a strong monetization problem, and you cannot avoid it, and you have to be fair, not because it's a sin to get money, but because it doesn't work. It doesn't create trust and coordination.
All right, panel members, what do you have to say about that? Any thoughts? I know people must be holding some stuff back. You guys, anything to add?
I have a question on what Giacomo would think of the rated ICO for Ethereum's Lightning Network version. I would really want to hear him destroy that one.
Well, but we'll not be really original. We just say it all, right? If you're creating infrastructure, that's not the model. That's just a thing that actually ruins the incentives. It ruins the incentive to create the project, because you give some kids a lot of money without responsibility, without shareholders, without agreements, without non-compete. You just give them money, and they are supposed to do something. So it doesn't work. It's not a sin. It's not sinful. It's just ineffective for this kind of infrastructure level work. The people on the other hand, I feel the pain of people working on this kind of project. And the reason we started with a no-profit foundation giving money and help to developers is just because there is not really a good solution. Like people working on Lightning Network on Bitcoin, what's their business model? Red Hat. We create the standard for free, and we will be the best guy working on the standard for support, implementation, business integration. Okay, but we cannot have 1,000 Red Hats. So business models in Bitcoin space are shaky. Like I worked with Lawrence with Green Address, and it was a nightmare. I was like biz dev for a few weeks, and it was like, can we actually sell private intellectual property? No, of course, it's open source. Can we actually charge the users? No, I mean, it must be open and no lock-in. Can we at least show some advertisement? And Lawrence said, no, because images, GIF are dangerous. There could be malware there. Okay, so there is no way to monetize Bitcoin project. So I feel the pain for these guys. The problem is that if the infrastructure is already there, work on that or just find a product or service to launch. It's not that everybody has to create a new infrastructure. The Ethereum Lightning guys are probably mostly web developers because they love Solidity, so they probably love JavaScript, and they should probably create a great website. Actually, ethereum.org is great. Very nice graphics and UI. So please, you are web developers. You have a lot of value to contribute to the world. Create websites and web apps. That's actually your job.
Oh, Levi's got a big smile on his face there. You got something to add to that, man?
No. I just fully agree with Giacomo there. Of course, but getting back to Money's question, I think it's over the top. I mean, they already had that ICO, of course, earlier with Ethereum, and then why would they now raise the ICO for the Raiden? For me, it really doesn't make sense at all. And further than that, I totally agree with Giacomo on that.
We don't have any Ethereum fans on this panel, do we? I don't.
Well, the difference is,
I dropped like 75% of my Ethereum holdings.
Bitcoin Lightning Network has 4 teams working on Lightning. You know, it's all self-sustainable, and then Ethereum, which basically went up so much in value, can't self-sustain their fork Raiden Lightning Network. Like, you know, half the work was already done. You can't finish it. It's basically a money grab. You know, we just have to be honest here. It's like, listen, we want a quick 20, 50, whatever they're going to raise, and, you know, buy big houses and work again. It's a money grab. And it's crazy to see that the community even thinks it's something positive, because they're just blinded by the leaders like Vitalik and the little group that's handling it. So,
I mean, ICOs, they're just money grabs now. Right?
And that's the value in Bitcoin. It's completely self-sustained. Like, there's nobody paying the bill. Like, everybody is sustaining it. So that's why it's going to keep growing in value. Definitely with Lightning.
Ansel, do you have a conclusionary thoughts on this this round robin of topics here that have just gone around?
Not really. They covered it pretty much, other than just to say that, yeah, these ICOs are getting more and more blatant, and they're coming to an end.
They're coming to an end. You think? I've just been disappointed by some of the popular people in our space who've decided to go the ICO route. I'm confused, because some of these people are very smart, but it's as if they don't see the writing on the wall. I don't.
Sell your soul to the devil. It's all for the money. You know how it is.
They're laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's like, okay, screw everybody. I'm taking the money.
Well, in a way, I mean, I've been probably more harsh than most of the others about this ICO. But really, on one part, I want to be contrarian here. One part of me understand these guys. I mean, there are these morons like really praying you, please take my money without giving me any contracts, without giving me any right. You just take my money, please, and you actually have to say no. I mean, and also if you read terms of service of something like EOS, there is written there in the terms of service, there is like, you are buying nothing. At this point, okay, it's a scam, but at what level actually accepting donation by morons is scam? I'm not doing that, mostly for reputational reason and for technical reason, because I think it doesn't make any sense. Yesterday with Ricardo, we created a triangle. I will be brief here, but basically we think that a ICO can be legal and honest for the investor, but not, so that's just an IPO, so it's not very innovative for the issuers. Or it can be honest with the investor and innovative for the issuer, so it's an illegal crypto security, which is cool, but it's illegal. Or it can be legal and great for the investor, so it's an utility token, but it is a scam for the final investors. So you have to choose: are you illegal or you are scam? That's difficult, but there is a lot of money on the table, and I feel for these people that at some point just cannot be strong, and they just go for it.
So are ICOs founders, are they getting reimbursed for providing education to these people because, you know, there's very painful lessons happening that are very important, actually.
I agree. That's entertainment, a dream. That's like more entertainment sector. When Steven Spielberg sells you UFOs or aliens, it's not that they are real, but you pay to go to the cinema. So you pay for world computer, rich statefulness, and Raiden, and governance, and you pay because you have a dream.
And talking about EOS, EOS is a year-long ICO, okay? A year-long. That's for every little mom and pop conference that they're going to be able to sell their bags and unload it.
Man, this has been hilarious. Pound that like button, audience. I mean, I've been laughing my butt off. It is amazing that they're straight up saying we're providing you nothing. I mean, it says it in the terms of the agreement. You're guaranteed nothing. I mean, they're not. So you can't really call it a scam when people are foolish. They're not. They're like, I'm giving my money to these people because everybody else is. I mean, that is the madness of this space, and that's why I know that with these forks that are being given away for free, that might work out better. If people are willing to pay for nothing, they'll be willing to pay for these new coins just because they're called something with Bitcoin. I mean, there's just irrational. 80% of the people in this space are irrational. I mean, I don't think that's an exaggeration.
Well, we could say that with BitGold, they created a way in order to create a for coin and a pre-mine scam. So they are doing both. So now they can actually create the best of the two worlds.
All right. Let's anyone else on the ICO topic before I got one more topic I want to bring up here. And this will be real. Well, yeah, real quick here. When I had Brian Kelly on the show, who's a guy from CNBC, he's a Wall Street guy, and he had a quote, "There is a wall of institutional money heading toward the cryptocurrency markets." And that was pretty exciting there, that these hedge funds are on their way. And it's a bullish thing. It's something to look forward to in 2018. Do you guys have any thoughts on that, about this type of mainstream finance, Wall Street thing pouring in? Do you think this is for real? Do you think are we on the verge of this? Levi?
Yeah, I think we are. I'm ready for them to get in, of course. If you look at 2017 and how it has grown already from, let's say, less than 20 billion to 170 billion almost. And it's just the beginning. We are still at, people are saying we are already in the early adopter phase. But if you look at it from a global perspective, I think we are still in the late innovator stage in terms of the innovation adoption curve. You know, I always say, like, if you ask in real life, how many people do you know? In majority, if I ask it to my friends and family, they know approximately around 100 people. And none of them have Bitcoin. They all know about it, but none of them have them. And that's the whole thing. And we are now hopefully going to that next level now that is getting a lot of mainstream awareness and exposure. So, yeah, 2008 is going to be amazing.
I think that one of the things that this wall of institutional money might show is that individuals maybe have heard of Bitcoin, but they're just not technologically advanced. They're scared to hold it themselves. They're intimidated. It is, I mean, we think it's easy just to go to Coinbase and buy it. And in theory it is, but some people are scared to even make it. Then they're like, well, how am I going to hold it? How am I going to do this? So people want institutions. They want hedge funds to jump in so they could just own a piece of the hedge fund or own a piece of the, whatever financial instrument is made up of that intakes Bitcoin. They want to be a part of it that way. They don't want to, you see, and the point of Bitcoin is to control your own private key, is to hold it yourself, but there's still the mindset out there. Everybody wants a third party to take care of it for them. Moneytrigz, do you think that we are on the verge of something big? Is institutional money on the way?
Okay, so let's not forget, the first that's going to bring all the users will stay inflation, bankrupt banks, demonetization, capital controls. And then you're talking about institutional money wanting to invest long term. And something else you should think about is insider trading. They'll be able to do certain stuff like that with less risk of jail time, because there's not really much law in place for that yet. So you'll find hedge funds basically like trying to trade each other off. Like one will have a large long position, other one will short it. Like it's going to be crazy. Right now we're in accumulation phase, I would say. But when the prices start to become, you know, much higher, then you're going to see the big boys be playing the market and try to short each other, squeeze each other. Like it's going to be insane. And of course, remember all the people that's like, oh my God, you know, $50,000, it's a lot, I'm going to sell and take the money. Afterwards, when it's like at 100,000, you know, you're going to have a lot less Bitcoin. So it's going to be very difficult to hold, because you're going to have to need the biggest balls ever when, you know, your account is just like, oh my God, my 20 Bitcoin is now 2 million. Oh my God, I got to take it because I think, you know, this house, blah, blah. And then, you know, it triples in price in a few months or even a year and a half. So just think about what it will be in 10 years when central banks are using it as a payment method, because look how long it takes to transfer 300 tons of gold. It takes like 18 months. Like Germany is still waiting on their gold from the Federal Reserve in New York, and it's taken years and they're still not getting all the money.
Wow. Your point about insider trading is very interesting. And remember, people, what he basically just said is have real long-term thinking on this. I try to tell everyone to focus on the 2020 halving, and that's easy to do. I think it's easy to do, but there's a whole new world beyond 2020. I mean, if we get to that point, and I don't want to jinx anything, but where Bitcoin is at $50,000, for some institutions, that's still nothing. So you're right, individuals will drop out at 50,000. They'll be like, oh, my day's made here. But those institutions are going to bring it up to 100 to 200 after that, in theory. And people are going to look back on like, oh, wait a second. Again, the big guys won in the long run. So
remember,
if you don't want to be one of those people, it's just like, oh, the big guys beat me out. Have a strong hand. Think long-term and have the gonads of steel, I guess.
Remember, daily volume right now is 2 billion. You'll have these hedge funds will make like a trade that's 2 billion. That's just one trade.
That's a put it in perspective right there, man. That really, think about those numbers, people. I know some people aren't good with numbers, but dude, yeah, this is early on. I still think it's really early on in all this. Ansel, how about you?
So many great points there. Yeah, the 2 billion thing. I think that we made a kind of a landmark at $100 billion market cap. So, you know, they might have these type of milestones that, okay, when it reaches 100 billion, we can invest this much into the market. When we reach 250 billion, then we can invest this much. But yeah, they're coming. The big boys are coming. Who else is really going to invest? When I look at people that I talk to and just think about the US specifically, people that they're not going to buy one Bitcoin. Most people, because there is, you know, in the US, they say, what, 50% of people can't meet a $500 expense, something like that. So they're not going to buy a whole Bitcoin. Who is going to be buying this? It's going to be these big companies, the big hedge funds, the pension funds, the endowment funds, all of these people, they're ready to get in. And yeah, we see it with the most indebted countries. So like Japan, they're going gangbusters for Bitcoin, and they just happen to have the highest debt to GDP ratio, right? So I think we'll see kind of these that pattern continue, where the most indebted countries will become more and more active in Bitcoin. We also see mining getting all over the place. So there's going to be these big hedge funds might open up or invest in mining ventures. So there's a lot of opportunity to get into Bitcoin, mainly from the big boys, the retail investors. I think they're either in or they're going to miss the boat.
Wow. One Bitcoin makes you elite, people, if you think of it the way he just put it out there. Because, yeah, most Americans, they can't afford a $500 like surprise bill. And so they're not going to be even interested in, they'll just be like naysayers. They'll be like, oh, $6,000 is so much, yet they'll get a $6,000 TV or something. Anyway, Giacomo, what do you have to say about this, the future and the big money coming in?
Everything you said you guys said make perfect sense to me. Absolutely. I think that in my little spot, I can confirm that factually. It's still early, I agree. But what I'm seeing, so in order to sustain the foundation part of BHB, we are selling information, so consultancy. And we sell information basically to incumbents, so especially banks. So I spent the last 2 years going to banks, telling them you should do stuff on Bitcoin because it's an interesting asset class. And they were answering, well, no, we want to use the blockchain without Bitcoin. And so I had to demolish that and to explain that. And for the first time now, especially in Switzerland, where I have a large number of clients, banks that are preparing technically to do Bitcoin cold storage for their clients. So at the beginning, it will be a mess. The ecosystem is not even ready for that. There's not even a open source procedure for that. We are helping with other experts to create it, but it's happening. They are ready. The regulator in Switzerland is ready. And when they start, other will follow. I think that this is even good in a way, because as I said, I think that this was my talk in scaling in a Breaking Bitcoin conference in Paris. Basically, I say that there are two kinds of Bitcoin users. One is the one who has to use Bitcoin. So they want privacy, censorship resistance. They want permissionlessness, trustlessness, because they want to pay WikiLeaks or whatever. The other kind of user is the investor. Is an old school investor. He doesn't care about permissionless. He just see a new asset class and he wants to invest with the same old boring methods that he used for the equity or real estate or whatever currency. So they want to keep up the phone and to ask the banks to buy and store Bitcoin. And this can be good because right now the banks selling Bitcoin stuff, they are keeping Bitcoin on a third-party exchange, which is bad, or on a third-party startup, which is bad. Banks' role in society is to keep value safe. So this is good in a way. I'm also a little bit pissed off by this because of two reasons. First, I spent 2 years telling banks that Bitcoin is an interesting asset class. You can look at node correlation. You can look compare it to other asset class. It's not correlated. And they always said no. And since 6 months, they are telling me, yes, and we also want to buy a lot of Zcash and Ethereum and Doge. So wait, keep calm. I mean, you just learn now that you just recognize that there is an interesting asset class. And now everybody with a 1 billion market cap is a new asset class for you. So it's like a pendulum, right? They're starting from nothing to every kind of scam. They want to keep cold storage of everything. The second reason I'm a little bit upset is that it's a little bit too early for my personal finance. I counted on the fact of accumulating way more Bitcoin before institutional came on board. I'm really late in my accumulating schedule, and so I don't want to be the poorest Bitcoiner in the whole ecosystem. So I hope that they will wait yet 1 year, 2 years, but unfortunately it could not happen.
All right, very good, Giacomo. Okay, now we're reaching the end of the show, so I'm going to let everybody do their final thoughts. It's been a really awesome show, and it's cool to have 4 guests on at the same time. We really get to have that treat. So, Levi, we'll start with you. You have any story you want to share? Any information you want to give out to people? Any conclusionary remarks?
Yeah, no, just some final additions to what we have spoken about institutional investors. But let's also not forget also the retail investors and other investors that are there. In the end, if you look at the stock market, it's a 68 trillion market. There's still a lot of money that can move over to the crypto space. The gold market, it's like 8 trillion. If 0.1% moves over to our cryptocurrency world, then it will be life-changing as well for us. And also the Forex exchange market, those guys are also getting into this space. This is also a daily volume of 4 trillion, you know. So if also a 0.1% or a 1% moves over here, then we are going to the moon. So
right.
Final thoughts for me was that, and I'm taking it a little bit on the low with my channel lately. I'm finishing up my company because I'm going full crypto end of the year. So I've been doing my company for 9 years now, quitting it, and I'm full force into crypto end of the year. So,
dude, that is awesome. Levi's links are below. Of course, you can check out his channel. Where are you located again? Tell the world where you are.
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands, baby. So he's representing the Netherlands. Now we're going to move on to Spain with Moneytrigz. Moneytrigz,
Yes,
what are your conclusionary remarks?
My conclusion, just like I said, holding is going to be difficult when the price goes so high. So, you know, in hindsight, sell your watch, sell your second car, sell everything you have, because you'll be crying in like 2 to 4 years. Because I'm doing it right now, man. I got my second car for sale. I'm like, why do I have that there? I'm going to sell it. I'm going to buy Bitcoin. I should have done it a long time ago.
You know, that's a really good point. Your used car is going up in value. You sell your used car for $5,000 for $6,000.
Bro, listen, this is a true story. I bought a new car a few months ago, okay? Well, guess what? If I just would have held a bit longer, I could have bought 4 of those freaking cars, okay? Okay, this is true fucking. Listen, I've had Bitcoin since like the $200 and I bought a lot, but you know, it goes up to 900, 1,000. You're like, oh my God, my wife, this, you know, a little kid, I have to buy a new car. Let me buy it. And then, you know, it's $5,000 later. I'm like, oh my God, I could have bought that car and a Lambo, you know? So just, you know, keep that in mind, people, because in like 7, 8 months, a lot has changed and that car would have bought, you know, 5 cars. This is a true story.
Wow. Pound that like button, people, for that comparison. I mean, that puts it in perspective, especially for Americans who are into like buying cars and stuff, you know, extra cars. Ansel is not, he's an American that knows how to save. What are your thoughts here? What are your conclusionary remarks?
Buy the dip. Yeah. I wanted to take this opportunity to emphasize to I had a tweet that was really popular the other day, and I'm really kind of honed in on this topic right now, is don't let the attackers or the anti-Bitcoin folks, don't let them try to rewrite history. We know what is the truth, and really stick to our guns and make sure that everybody knows it. And don't let them try to come in and just put a false narrative out there. Immediately call it out. That's what I've been trying to do, is like scan, and as soon as I see something that's totally fake, just jump on it right away to try to squash that before it takes root at all. So I just wanted to reemphasize that. Yeah, I do a podcast 2-3 times a week. Try to get that many out, and bitcoinandmarkets.com, or you can find me on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, all those.
Yes, and Ansel's Twitter is linked to below. He's got a great Twitter. I'm at TechBalt, everyone, TechBalt. Follow me there. We've been going wild on Twitter lately. Twitter has been a lot of fun. Moneytrigz is very well known on there too. That's where he's a legend.
Trolls are the gatekeepers. We're the gatekeepers.
Trolls are the gatekeepers. By the way, in our chat today, the trolls, the most disgusting trolls on earth, they haven't been there today. It's great. I've been checking over to the chat. It's been really clean. You guys, the people there, you guys are the elite. So Boris, thank you for the $5 Australian that you just sent too, man. You rock it. All right, so Giacomo started off the show. Now he's going to end the show with his conclusionary thoughts. Say what you got to say, man. Take it away. Tell us what's going on. Anything you want to say.
I hope I didn't talk too much, but the questions were very good, and also the other comment. Maybe I've been a little bit too much talkative, but everything was very interesting, and I'm glad to have been on the show. I will use my final remarks to actually launch my pre-ICO. No, I'm joking. No, I will follow the last advice. Do not forget and do not forgive. This attack will make Bitcoin stronger, but we can be nice guys personally, but even very, very strict from an ecosystem point of view with the scammers. And we have to be, do not forgive easily. Please remember that if you don't run a full node, you can be scammed quite easily. So we took a while to teach people to keep your private keys. Now we have to add another step. Keep your private keys if you are Bitcoin users, but also connect to a trusted, your own full validated node. Otherwise, Garzi can actually sell you anything for a while. Then it will lose anyway. So Mir, come here that you can say hello as well. And thank you very much for having us here in the show.
Hi, bye everyone.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dude, that beautiful conclusion there. And we've got guests all around. That's cool.
Hey, congrats with the first Bitcoin baby, man. They're going to be the first Bitcoin baby couple.
Thank you. Actually, we are thinking about some kind of initial child offering.
We should do a baby shower, a Bitcoin global baby shower, the first ever.
We will think about it.
I will say this, I gave a friend in the year 2015, when his baby was born, I gave him 0.1 Bitcoin. It was worth 25 bucks then, and now it's worth, what is it, 600 bucks? So give people Bitcoin presents when they have a baby. And then when the baby's 10 years old, the baby will be very happy that it got Bitcoin way when it was a little kid.
Let's do that. We don't mind.
Yeah.
Put up your address. Put up your Bitcoin baby address there.
I agree. I'm in. Count me in.
All right. Hey, people, seriously, give Bitcoin as presents. It's a great way to teach people about Bitcoin. They all of a sudden think, oh, I got 20 bucks worth of it. And then soon after, they're like, wait a second, I have 30 bucks worth of this now? I got to learn more. I got to see how I got to store this correctly, because maybe it'll be worth 100 one day.
And if your friend is not very tech savvy, give them the Bitcoin, but keep a copy of the private key, because maybe you will lose it eventually.
That's actually what I'm doing. I'm giving everybody Bitcoin now, with weddings, with birthdays, only Bitcoins.
Yeah, this is great, man. Hey, people out there, we're giving you use cases for your Bitcoin, and yeah, it's a way to spread the word, and it's a way, and your friends will like you a lot within a year, probably a lot more than they did beforehand. No, but friends are friends. All right, we're going to conclude it. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Do check out the notes section below. Pound that like button. That was This Week in Bitcoin. We will be back here next Friday. We'll have a brand new panel, some reoccurring guests, maybe some new guests. Who knows? This panel was awesome. They'll all be back in the future, no doubt. So bye-bye, everyone. And again, I do a new show here every day, not just This Week in Bitcoin. So, hey, check out our show from yesterday, and I'll be back tomorrow with my regular show, the One Bitcoin Show. Bye-bye, everyone. See ya.